Hello. So we're going to do, or I'm going to do 2-point perspective. For the Wednesday people, I'm going to try to bring you a little bit past what we went over in class today. And for the Monday people, of course, you're going to have to go off this in its entirety. For both the 1-point and the 2-point perspective drawings, we're going to add 4 elements beyond what is in the video. Okay, so first thing you want to do on your paper is move it to landscape. So we want to work in a landscape again. We want to go down equidistant down on your ruler. Go down about 1/3 of the way down the page there. Make sure I got the right distance here. Okay. And then we'll come down like this. So these are going to be my 2 vanishing points. All right. Instead of 1 vanishing point, we're now 2-point perspective. Okay. As I explained to the Wednesday group, we are going to be scrunching in our vanishing points, which means if we were going to do a drawing of a house using 2-point perspective, we would have to have vanishing points like 15 feet that way and 15 feet that way. Because we can't do that, we're going to bring our vanishing points in, which is going to make our house look more fisheye-like, almost like on a wide-angle lens. But all the same principles still apply, and you'll see that in a second here. Okay. This, of course, is our horizon line. So you can draw a line between your 2 vanishing points to create your horizon line. We're going to need that. I'm going to go as quickly as I can, just kind of running through this, knowing that you can pause it periodically to see what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. Natalie, if you don't mind getting kind of like right over there. Thank you. All right, so we're going to draw a line down this way. We want it shorter on the top and longer on the bottom. We want it a little bit off to the right here. That's going to be the leading edge of our house. We're going to create a small house, kind of like a ranch house or a trailer. So this will be the front. So I'm always going to the vanishing point. Notice throughout this entire drawing, I will have lines that are either vertical or lines that converge back to one of the 2 vanishing points. The only exception will be with our roof, and I'll explain that in a second. Okay. So that's going to be the longer front of our house, and this is going to be our shorter side of the house. Okay, then we're going to come down this way, like so. I'm going to go ahead and erase the horizon line so that the house looks more opaque. So there we have the basics, and we talked a little bit about this when we were a week or so ago when we were talking about perspective, creating this type of form here. Now I'm going to go from these 2 points. So I'm going to go from that point there and that point there back to the vanishing points. So I'm going to go from the vanishing point to that first point. Like so. I don't know where it's going to end, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Then I'm going to go from the vanishing point to here, and I'm going to stop when it intersects with the first one. There I've just created the floor of my structure. I'm going to do the same thing up top and create the ceiling. Don't know where it's going to end, so I'll leave it dangling like that. And then I'll come through and draw that. Where these 2 points intersect, and they might be off just a little bit, you're going to draw a line straight down. If they are off, just kind of split the difference between the 2, and that constitutes the line that is opposite of this one here. So now we have our basic prism structure right there, all going to the vanishing point or vertical here. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we want to find the middle of this trapezoid here. So I'm just going to draw an X. I'm going to go from this corner to this corner, and then I'm going to go from the opposite 2 corners. And where they intersect, that's the point that I'm looking for. That's the middle of that plane right there. Okay? Then I'm going to draw a line straight up here, like so. That's going to indicate the top of our gable side of our house right there. These are two of the lines that I said that are diagonal, that are not lines of convergence. So I'm just going to run them down like that. Like so. Those two will indicate the pitch of my roof. Okay? Next thing I want to do is I want to go to the opposite trapezoid, and I want to find the center of that. So I go from corner to corner, and corner to corner, where they intersect is going to be that central point there. I'm going to draw a line straight up now, indicating that top right there. Okay? Next thing I want to do is I want to go from the top of my gable that I originally drew back to the vanishing point, but stop at this new center point right here. Vanishing point, which is going to create the ridge of my house. Stop at that new line right there. Okay? Then from that point, I'm going to create what's called the rake, which is basically just the pitch of the roof right there. Okay? So now notice how I created a little bit of an overhang on these. Technically, this overhang can go from the vanishing point to that little overhang on the other side of the house, and it just goes back like that. So it's not just a random line, it actually does go back to the vanishing point again. Okay? Next thing I'm going to do is I am going to actually add a garage onto our house. So what I want to do is I just want to extend 4 lines. I want to extend this line here, which is the top of the front of the house, the opposite line, and the opposite line. So make sure that you're going from that vanishing point again. You're really just tracing or extending this line, but you still want to go to that vanishing point. I'm going to come out here on this one, determine how far I want to go out, and then I'm going to go vertical right here. So I create a vertical line. It's going to be like a 1-car garage added to our house here. And then I'm going to go from the vanishing point to this line here, extending the front plane of that house out until I hit that line right there. Okay? You can see the front of the house was just extended out. I got to do the same to the back now. Okay? So I'm going to go vanishing point through to here. Bring that out like that. There's a lot of lines going on here, so just make sure that you're using the right lines. And extend that out like that. Okay? Now what I want to do is I want to go from this corner back to my vanishing point. Stop at that back wall. This corner back to the vanishing point. Stop at that wall. Go straight down here like so. Okay? Now I've created that basically box on the end of my house here. Okay? I now have a new trapezoid. I want to go ahead and draw this trapezoid in like so. So I'm going to make that X. I want to find that center again. Again, this is where you see that fish-eyeing, where this is really exaggerated. But again, the same principle, so it's really good for learning how to do this. I'm going to make the pitch of my addition, my roof, a little bit shallower than my other roof from my house. You could extend this ridge out and make it the same. You're welcome to do that. I'm going to have mine dive into the gable a little bit shallower. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead, draw my rake on my new roof, like so. Okay? Then I'm going to go from the vanishing point back to the ridge of the new roof and stop when I get to the gable. Stop right there. Okay? Now, I'm going to create the rake of my new roof, which is the garage. Run that down like that. Okay? Next thing I want to do is I want to draw the overhang So I'm going to go from my new overhang right here on the roof of the garage back to the vanishing point. Like that, okay? And then I have a new one right here too, so I'm going to draw that in. Like so. Now, I can start to erase some of these lines so it's not so confusing. So now my roof starts to look more opaque, and you can start to make sense of what I'm doing here, okay? So that's a start right there. Next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and add a door. So I'm just going to draw 2 vertical lines for my front door, okay? Now I'm going to go from this point here back to the vanishing point. Like this. It's almost flat across because I'm so close to my horizon line. Now I want to draw another door in my garage. So I'm going to go vanishing point through the top of the new door, make a little mark on the corner of the house where the house and the garage meet. Then what I'm going to do is catch that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the vanishing point to that mark on the garage, indicating the top of the door for the front of the house. And now I have a corresponding door that's going to be in the garage, okay? The width of that is entirely up to you. Make it as wide as you want. Now those 2 doors are the same heights because I used that notch just like we did in the 1-point perspective. While we're at it, let's make 2 picture windows in our front of our house.